Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to walk you through a project that I have built called PhishGuard, a tool that analyzes a URL using machine learning and multiple security intelligence sources to determine whether it's a phishing URL or a legitimate one. So this isn't just a machine learning project, it's a cybersecurity focused project that combines machine learning and real world security intelligence. I have divided the video into two parts and I'll be providing the complete source code for the project. I will also show you how to install and run the project yourself. In part 1, I will give you an overview of PhishGuard, explaining what it does, how it works, and then we will also look at a live demo. In part 2, I will show you how to install, run the project, and then we'll go deeper into the machine learning model and code behind it. Finally, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting more videos like this covering simple projects and explaining the code behind them. So if you are interested, do subscribe and support. So before we look at PhishGuard, let's quickly understand what phishing actually is. Phishing is a type of cyber attack where an attacker tries to trick a user into revealing sensitive information such as username, password, banking details, or other personal information. One common technique is to create a fake website that looks very similar to a legitimate website and then send the victim a link to it. For example, look at these two URLs. The first one is the legitimate PayPal domain. In the second one, the attacker has replaced letter L with number 1 to create a look-alike domain. This technique is called URL impersonation. It may look like a small difference, but it can be enough to trick someone into visiting a malicious website. And this is one of the problems our project PhishGuard is designed to detect. So the idea behind PhishGuard is simple. You provide a URL and PhishGuard analyzes it and gives you an initial assessment without actually visiting the website. But the important part is that the assessment isn't based on just one source. PhishGuard combines information from 4 different sources: a machine learning model, VirusTotal, WHOIS, and DNS. Each source provides a different type of information about the URL, and together they give us more complete picture. Now let's quickly look at what each source gives us. First, the machine learning model. It analyzes the URL itself, things like its length, character, structure, and other patterns that can help distinguish phishing URLs from legitimate ones. Next is VirusTotal. It checks the URL against multiple security and antivirus engines and gives us an additional reputation-based signal. Then we have WHOIS. This gives us information about domain registration. One useful signal here is the age of the domain, because a newly registered domain can be an additional indicator of risk. And finally, DNS resolution. This allows us to check whether the domain actually resolves and provides us with DNS related information. Alright, now that we understand what PhishGuard is and the different sources of information it uses, let's see it in action. So this is how the application looks like. As mentioned earlier, the application is utilizing 4 different sources of information. One is the machine learning model, which is a random forest model, and it is trained on 235,000 URLs. It has an overall accuracy of 97.79%. We are also utilizing VirusTotal, WHOIS, and DNS resolution. Now let's try out a legitimate URL. I am giving a GitHub link. Our model has already predicted it as a legitimate URL. We have holistic verdict, VirusTotal, WHOIS, and DNS resolution details here. Let's go over this one by one. So our machine learning model has predicted this as a legitimate URL with 94.72% confidence. It is also giving a signal breakdown, like if the URL is utilizing HTTPS, is there any raw IP address within the URL, is there any special characters, encoded characters, suspicious keywords, brand lookalike. All these are checked within the machine learning model. Here we have the holistic verdict. This is basically combining the results from all the four sources. According to the weights that we have set, it will give us an overall result. In this case, I have given maximum weight for the machine learning model 55%, for VirusTotal 30%, WHOIS 10%, and DNS 5%. And holistic verdict is again saying that the URL is a legitimate URL with 96.1% confidence. Here in VirusTotal, no security vendors have flagged this URL, which is a good sign. You can click on this link to view the full report on VirusTotal. WHOIS domain registration is again showing that this was created in 2007, which is a long time ago, and it is registered under GitHub INC, which is again a good sign. DNS resolution is also giving us the IP, mail exchange server, name server, and all these details. So overall, the URL seems to be a legitimate URL. Now let's try out a potential phishing URL. I'm giving google.com, but with zeros. The machine learning model has already predicted that the URL seems to be a phishing URL. Here in the signal breakdown, it has flagged that the URL looks like a brand lookalike or a typo squad URL. Our holistic verdict is also showing that it could be a potential phishing URL with 95% confidence. And in VirusTotal, 9 out of 92 security vendors have flagged this URL as a malicious or a suspicious URL. WHOIS domain registration again showing that it was created in 2001 and it is registered under Google LLC. And DNS resolution is also giving us results. Now the interesting question here is that how can a potential phishing URL be registered under Google LLC? This is actually part of security practice that is being utilized by large companies. So they usually register all the lookalike domain names under their organization to prevent future phishing attacks. Now let's try out legitimate URL for PayPal. Its CAN ML model already predicted as legitimate with 81% confidence. Signal breakdown showing everything is good. Holistic verdict also shows that it is a legitimate URL. VirusTotal no flags. WHOIS domain registration was registered in 1999 and it is registered under PayPal INC. DNS resolution is also giving us results. So everything is looking good. Now let's try out a potential phishing URL for PayPal.com. Again, our machine learning model has predicted this as a phishing URL with 93% confidence. Here in the signal breakdown, as you can see, it is showing that this is probably a brand lookalike or a typo squad URL. And then holistic verdict is also showing that this is probably a phishing URL. Here the interesting part is that in VirusTotal there are no flags. WHOIS there is no results. DNS resolution also no results. This is showing that the URL is not a live domain, but it is also confirming us that this is not a legitimate URL as well. So this is the overall functionality of the application. PhishTank is a website that keeps a list of all the known, unknown, valid phishing URLs out there. So let's try one of these URLs in our application. So I'm copying this one. Let's try this. Our machine learning model has already predicted that the URL is a phishing URL. Let's see what results we get. Holistic verdict is also showing as phishing with 95% confidence. In VirusTotal, 11 out of 92 security vendors have flagged this URL as either malicious or suspicious URL. And then the domain registration. Again, this was registered just 2 days ago. That seems suspicious. And DNS resolution is also giving results. So this is a valid live phishing URL that we have scanned and our application was able to predict it correctly. And that's it for part 1. In part 2, we'll go behind the scenes. I'll show you how to install and run the project, how the machine learning model was trained, how the URL features are extracted, and how the different components are implemented. I will also provide the complete source code of the project so you can follow along and try it yourself. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in part 2.